multi-modes, 5 of them, yeah, the layout, the color, the font, and then the style, yeah, the language, the style of the writing or the text, up to the connection or the what do you call the relevance, yeah, with the gender differences. What is that we see from the previous slide, the layout of the two blocks are a bit different, yes, but the slight difference cannot cover the big the distinguished blocks, yeah. So we can find the order position, yes. Okay, maybe I should go to the previous. Now you can see here from the layout, yeah, there are 3 and 3. So we find the picture of the female blocks. They put the connection with the reader, yeah, that is by seeing the camera, including posing. Yes, so striking a pose is like a compulsory thing. Yeah, it's an obligation for women, especially when they need to take a selfie or Wi-Fi to be acknowledged, like that. But if the woman has a maid, yeah, from Lawalata's blog, then they just try to show the romance, yeah, the romantic connection between the two, so they see each other, not by seeing the camera, right? From the about 7 or 8 blocks, yeah, that I took from about 37 blocks totally for female and then 37 blocks for the female. I used only 3 of them, and one of them is only one of them, yeah, one of the male blocks, yeah, used this looking at the camera pose. This is from Mr. Andi's blog. But then for the female, almost all of them, yeah, with the eye contact with the camera, and then with a pose like that. All right, now for the color, I see male mostly gray, yeah, or we can call it as neutral color, yeah, gray, black, blue. Blue is not neutral, I know, but yeah, blue tend to be neutralized like that. And then females used white to show more. Oh yeah, later on I will show you how colors have psychological effects, yeah, and also some psycholinguistic description for this. And then for the fonts used mostly are Arial for males, yeah, Arial, French script, Trebuchet, and then PT Sans, and then female Trebuchet and Georgia Inherit Arial, and else. Now, from the PT Sans and French script, yeah, French script and PT Sans, yeah, we can see the male characters as someone who is what is comprehensive, yeah, in terms of family. So from the type of the font, we can see the demonstration of the direction, the guide, the guiding sign, yeah, as men tend to possess these characters. Meanwhile, Georgia, used by female, tends to show the providing character, to give the clarity, to give or to cover the sense of friendliness, yeah, and then which combines high legibility with character and charms as women have. All right, so now here, what about the gender differences, yeah, from the language, like the writing or the text? We can see the style from the writing style, yeah, according to the text and then according to the language used. Then we can find male as focusing more on the object being viewed. Yeah, we can get the notion that males or men tend to be visual, yeah, and meanwhile women are not that visual, yeah, even though there are certain women, yeah, are very visual, but if we take a look at this style being viewed or more visual. And then females are more involved in the activities of their own travels. So yeah, however, we can find most lexical items and then more multi-modes, yeah, or more visual multi-modes on female blogs, yeah, than male blogs. Nah, so it describes the characters of female, yeah, or women as the more descriptive creature or a social creature, in the sense of putting themselves in every scenes, yeah, and then doing the better layouts, yeah, not to make it too strict or to show fragility, yeah. No, but they try to lift up their blocks by using various colors, and then the eye-catchy typography, just not to make the blocks look numb, yeah, or look lame, like that. Okay, so now here we see the image, yeah, from
Excuse
the
me,
first block.
Kenya.
Yes.
Perhaps
Mhm.
you can have about 5
More
last
minutes.
minute.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Handoko. All right. Since we have the last 5 minutes, I hope that we can we can be quicker. Yes. Okay. Now, first from the image, yeah, the first mode in multimodality, I see in the photography, it's about the shot. So we see how the close-up shot, yeah, gives an intimacy, yeah, to the audience, and also the emotion. And the differences in the two, or in female and male travel bloggers, we can find the function of decorative, illustrative, and informative in this. Yeah, okay, let me show you. Let's see. This is the illustrative one. All right. So men are more illustrative by providing pictures, yeah, more than text. It doesn't mean that they are a bit stingy in details, yeah, or they are not very specific. Well, they can bring the specificity by illustrating it more, but it's just not how they work like that. So it's better to show than to explain in text. And then for female, yeah, female blogs tend to be more decorative. Yeah, so they put some decorations, accents, yeah, including captions, yeah, interesting captions, along with the pictures. And then for the informative role, I let you compare. Okay, I just put the head, yeah, or two blocks of two block heads. Sorry, two block heads of the two. Male is the upper one, and then female is the lower one. Yeah, you can decide. All right, which one is from the wordiness? From the wordiness here is yeah, surely goes to female. Yeah, and then for the accents, for the information given, yeah, it also more on female. And meanwhile, for male, it's quite simple. Yeah, what an amazing world, seeing, feeling, and exploring places and cultures of the world. All right, including the colors, you can see the colors, yeah. The colors are very strict for male, and meanwhile for female, the colors are various and lively, right? It seems to be very fun, yeah, to see the blocks. Okay, so now maybe I should go to the conclusion. Yeah, I already discussed about this. I just planned to show you why this, why that, like that. But we can just skip this and that. All right, now here for couples, yeah, for couples, we can also see that female tend to be more reactive, yeah, to the connection of the two. I mean, the romantic connection, as you can see here, yeah, that the female puts more effort in her pose, yeah, than the male. The man here is just standing behind, and then just see the wife, yeah, and then the wife just tries to move the head, yeah, like it's a bit, yeah, the wife seems to put more effort in this pose. Okay, so now last but not least, oh, not, sorry, it's not the last. I just need to put the features, yeah, that the other bloggers do not add, is about the situations in their blog, yeah, including the body position in a shot. So we can see here that a male blogger used the ankles locked to the right. Meanwhile, females, yeah, took a shot of their feet right from their thighs. And you know that female tend to picture it from the thigh. Yeah. Meanwhile, for the male, it's enough to take the picture or to shoot this pose, yeah, from the ankle. All right, and then for this close up, yeah, looking at the camera poses mean that women are more narcissistic. self-attentive, self-congratulatory, and also aware of their internal state, which are added from the use I and me in my study. Okay, just like what Apis stated, yeah, in his study. All right, so I guess this is the first last. I still have the second last slide. Okay, all female bloggers show their fun but childish character, yeah, from those drawings that they are expressive, to show that they are expressive. And then males give serious design, yeah, in their blogs, or we can also say it as the formal design, yeah, because they are constructed to be strict, powerful, like they are the leader, yeah. Well, it doesn't mean that a leader should be strict and powerful, no, yeah, but it's in this case, yeah, that the construction is made from the style of the modes. And then for the gender construction, that women act that way because there is a social standard, yeah, how society defines manliness and how society or media has made it acceptable for women to act at a certain way. But yeah, of course, we need to be considerate, yeah, for whom we do something. Yeah, of course, it's for the sake of Allah, yeah, to please Him, not to please people. So we need to find out how the study, yeah, also covered images representing masculinity in the sense of formality. And the two of male bloggers, yeah, put their profile image, meanwhile the others don't. So males are not that narcissistic, yeah, compared to women. Now this is the male blogger's preference, and then this is the female blogger's preference. So you can see the man there, yeah, I mean the human being there in the picture. This is how descriptive women are, yeah, not only to show the nature, yeah, but also to show who was or who were there, including the blogger themselves. All right, so this is the last comparison. Actually, this is just a summary, yeah, from everything I explained since few minutes ago or several minutes ago. Now I need to go fast, yeah, in the color. This is just to show you the differentiation, yeah, and also the meanings of color. From the man, yeah, the colors used are only mostly gray, and then white and black, and then blue. Yeah, and blue is the dark blue. Meanwhile, for female bloggers, they use many various colors: pink, yellow, dark blue, light blue. This is also related to the understanding of women, yeah, how women know more about colors. So how many of you men know about, for example, pink, yeah? How does dusty pink differ from baby pink? Do you know? Anyone?
No idea.
No idea, yeah. Even, and then what kind of color is magenta, fuchsia, Fanta? What else? That reflect pink. So there are many pink, maybe maybe like 20 something pinks, yes. And then even for the name in Indonesian, yeah, we know kuning, yeah, for example, kuning, kuning kunyit, kuning, uh, apa lagi? Sorry, I forgot the name. Or even just black, yeah, hitam, hitam petis. And then what else? Coklat, coksu, coklat, coklat kayu, coklat. So there are so many terms, yeah, defined, and women are able to differentiate those. Okay, so this is also the plus, yeah, of women. And then for the typography, as I mentioned in the beginning, yeah, that typography also has the main concept, yeah, especially when women use more Arial, yeah, and then what is that? Georgia, yeah. Since women use direct quotation, while men paraphrase more often. So this typography can mark the language difference, including the modes, yeah, in the modes tendency in male and female travel blogs. Okay, so this is the conclusion, or I can say I can make the inferences here, that female blogs use more written lexical items than male blogs, in a sense that females tend to be more talkative and have more lexical items, yeah, stored than males. Nah, more than males do. So I also matched the result of my analysis, of this study from. I also matched from the previous studies conducted by Lakoff, and it was true. All right, so how females also use longer sentences, in defining something, and then something more informatively oriented, and then we see the effort, the more effort of women to make someone understand better. This is like the woman's work, to educate, to what is that? To create the better generation, like that. So I guess all women should be smart. They have to be educated, well educated, because it's on their hands. How the generation of one's nation should lead to. And then for the male blocks, indicate male superiority in the block. As you can see from the previous picture, including the focused images, in the blocks. All right, what about the standardized English language? We can find the use of the language, for female blocks proves to be more standardized in the form of language. Now, this also reflects that women are more careful, in doing something, or in expressing something, and in putting ideas into words. And this is also caused by the use of proper English language that can be seen in females blocks, or males blocks use more vernacular forms which represent the masculinity. And the very last one is all blocks use complex words. So the result of this study may lead to this conclusion, that females tend to use them more, as females are more aware to status conciseness. Meanwhile, males need to do the style shift to make the proper and good use of language use, just like what I found in Bondi. All right, so this is how I end my session. And this is more a description of what a woman I am. More description, including in the inferences, or in the conclusion. All right, so I guess that is all for me. Yes, and thank you for your kind attention, Mr. Handoko. I'd like to give you the floor back, also with the questions, if there's any.
Okay. Give a very loud applause for Bu Kenia, everybody. Thank you very much, Bu Kenia, for your insightful presentation. All right, so what Bu Kenia has explained has reminded me of students' most favorite topic, especially in linguistic research in their thesis, that they mostly are in favor of doing research on women or men linguistic features or men language features. Most of them analyze manually by reading the data word for word, instead of using the corpus solver. So I believe that what Bu Kenia has shown is that another alternative that we can use, especially in conducting a linguistic research, we can use a software, for example, the NCON software that Bu Kenia has shown, that it can be used to analyze the data, especially in the form of corpus, about the woman and men linguistic features. One thing that I can, one take-home message that I can take from Bu Kenia research is, it's actually also the result of my research published in Nobel about last year, that I also found the same, that women are more expressive, they are more sensitive, because they are capitalized on social intimacy in their relationship, especially therefore it also affects their language use. And for men, they view that the word is a battlefield, and therefore they need to show their dominance, they need to show their independence, they need to show their autonomy and individual beings, especially, and that also affects the language that they use in daily interactions. Thank you very much, Bu Kenia. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for having the Q&A session. We still have about 30 minutes, and we are having Bu Lydia's back here. Okay, so if you are, if you want to ask questions, you may drop your questions on the Zoom chat box here. or you can also use the raise hand button. Yeah, use the raise hand button if you want to ask questions directly to the presenter. Okay, there are two questions here already. The first comes from Bu Tristi, yeah, to Bukenia, yeah, and one for Bu Lydia. Okay, I will read the first question from Bu Tristi to Bukenia. Okay, good morning, Bukenia. Are modes similar to saucer, signified, and signifier? Is multimodality included to semiotics? Yeah, that's the question from Bu Tristi to Bu Kenia. And one question comes from Agus from Universitas Halu Oleo. Uh, Welcome, Mas Agus. And the question is addressed to Bu Julidiana. So I am really interested in your work, the fact that it can be applied into many concept or theory. I wonder what kind of analysis process it took. I mean, how with the collecting the most relevant words or phrases about Disney leads to a conclusion that is somehow does or doesn't affect Western children. Okay. Okay, who's going to address the question first, Bu Kenia or Bu Lydia?
It's up to you, Pak.
Okay, okay, okay. I will give the first chance to the first speaker, Bu Lydia.
Okay. That's how it works, right? Um, so let me read once more from, I don't know whether this is students or lecture, but it's my college from UHO,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I don't know him, but we consider it our college.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you for interesting in my works. Actually, it's we can see it's a very big works. Several themes that I applied to this study. So I have many source of data. Hang on, let me close my door first. Okay. I'm sorry for the interruptions. Okay. Collecting the data, it's not, in my case, in my study, collecting the data, it's not only collecting the response from the respondents, that would be the last stage, because the first and the second stage is were analyzing the text itself, because actually my subject is literature. So I sorting out the text. So first I deal with the Grimm's fairy tales. Then I analyze them, sorting them into thematic analysis. Using thematic analysis, it means that I highlighted the themes. I choose what themes that actually becomes the main themes in each stories. Then I watch and analyze the Disney animated movies, which is becomes, I cannot say that it is adapted, because not all Disney animated movie is come from Grimm's fairy tale, or they are using Grimm's fairy tale. No, so I changed several methodology. So after some of the stories can be using adaptation theory. Some of the stories are not. But here in this seminar, I only use one piece of my data, which is focused on Disney as the representations of a company that produce animated movie, which is very influential in my students' memory about fairy tales. So it's only 2 questions from about 18 questions that I already provide for them. And it's only focused on 3 fairy tales also. So the most relevant work is not based on what relevance of the themes, but I use the dominant term first. So I use Obsidian and Vivo as the application software. So the dominant term will guide me. I'm not using the application as the result and then doing the quantitative analysis, but I use that for guiding me what coding that actually can lead me to the analysis, because I have already my themes and my students have also their theme, and I confirm both of the data into a full analysis. So is the conclusion that I made, because when I asked them, the representation of the representation words that becomes their answer is exactly almost the same with what Disney represents in their movies. So that's why if I want to say it in a quantitative or percentage, it's about 95% of the answers of my respondents telling their fairy tales based on Disney representations or what Disney shows in their movies. That's why the conclusion is just it just becomes one of my conclusion in my result study. I hope that this will answer Pak Andoko. Thank you for the good, very good questions.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer, Bu Lydia. Mas Agus Ardianto, do you have any comment or maybe another questions related to Bu Lydia's answer? Okay, oh, wait a second. Yes, Mas Agus. Or is everything clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Mas Agus, for the questions. And another questions goes to Bukenia. Yes, Bukenia. So the question comes from Butristi about the what is it? Whether modes are similar to saucer signified signifier and whether multimodality included to semiotics. Okay, time is yours, Bukenia.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sandoko, and also Bu Tristi for the question. Yeah, this is one of the frequently asked questions related to multimodality and any other mutual discussions. I understand that given the various perspective nowadays, that can be adopted to the understanding of multimodality, then we know that there are some theoretical models and also the practical models, in the modes, intending to study multimodality. Now, for this course, then we find the other various fields. So this can be a debate, actually, just like the debate of which one comes first, chicken or egg or chicken. So it will never end, if we don't put those up in front of our eyes, and we see the practice directly. Oh, okay, so this can be explained in the two ways round, like that. The comes from the field of how the context is joined in the multimodal accounts, like the multimodal accounts relate to the modes, the multi-modes. And then it's just about the principle, just came out in the academic world, like yeah, maybe a decade ago. Yeah. Meanwhile, semiotics came earlier. So it seems to be semiotics like the develop according to some multimodality. According to them, actually semiotics, multimodality is the journey to semiotics. Nah, like that. So this can be in two ways round. Yeah. If we see the Saussure, the theories, yeah, the signify, the signifier, we go directly to the object. Maybe we can just find the differentiation in terms of the core of the discussion. Okay, for semiotics, yeah, we find the signifier as the object, the word, the image, the action, yeah, similar to the modes in multimodality. So multimodality also uses this, right? The signifiers, but they don't claim these as signifiers because they are called as modes. Yeah. Nah, and then the Saussure's signified. Nah, signified is the verb 3. Yeah. This is the concept behind the object that is being represented. For example, if there's a what is it? If there's a baby symbol, yeah, so it must be something related to babies. So if we find the symbol of baby in the restroom, for example, oh, so this is the place for babies, yeah, for mothers to do lactation or to change the diapers and else, yeah. But then if we find the picture of a baby in seats for babies, like that. So the signified can be used in what the object that is being represented. Meanwhile, in multimodality, this concept is the models. Yeah, this is the accounts that we used that is used here for symbolizing the matter. Now, for the Saussures, then we need to see how these two lines cross over one another. Now, if the question is it similar? Yes, it is. It is 100% similar, but they don't look alike. I mean, they are similar, but they are not the same because the core of the discussion is more on the description of each modes and then used to go deeper up to the result. Yeah, but then for the semiotics, we also do descriptions. Yeah, we can find the signifier and the signified one, but then for the meaning itself, can be termed in the idea that we form them in the meaning making system. Yeah, is that quite acceptable, Bu
Okay, that's
Tristi?
very clear. Thank you very much for the wonderful answer.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yes. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Thank you very much
I'm gonna turn to
for the
Bu
answer.
Suhanako.
Okay. Actually, we still have about maybe one question, two questions for Lydia and one question for Kenya, but I will just combine the two questions for Lydia. It comes from Ervina and also from Nabila. Yeah. So questions from Ervina to Lydia is, would you like to explain more how the theory that you have mentioned before influence the text or the data? Yeah, the feminism, the new criticism, and also the Marxism. That's a question comes from Ervina and from Nabila Warda about is the research related to existentialism?
Okay. Actually, Arvina also have a direct message with me.
Okay,
Yes.
another question
Yes.
comes from Bu Wahyu as well about, can we answer the issue on moral value lesson of the work when we use the application in the literary work studies? Yeah, there are three questions for
Okay, let me
Lydia.
try to answer in short, because I believe that if I answer what Ervina wants to know, it's about, let me read one more time. Probably we have misunderstanding here. You say that the theory that I mentioned, it's just an example, but I'm not using all of those. Yeah. Ervina told me about feminism, new criticism, Marxism, it's not to influence the text, but it's influence us as the researcher. They are becomes, I have the analogy that these theories are my glasses, my point of view to see it. So if I focus on feminism, I'm focused on feminism theories, it means I always see the inequality of the gender. I focus on how men dominate the women in the text. I focus on how women suppressed by the man or the society, or probably the point of view of the society, which is seeing the women um, as a human that have less priority, less worth life or worth value, and so on and so forth. If I am using my feminism criticism as my glasses, so it affect not the text but us as the researcher. And if I'm using new criticism, it means that I focus on the intrinsic elements of the text. I don't mind with the author's point of view or the author's background or the society background inside the text and so on and so forth. And if it is Marxism, it means I focus on the economic inequality, power that relates with the economic things, power that relates with the things that rising the privilege, rising the dominant or the repression between the one that having more power because of the capital that they have, and the one that have more suppression because they don't have any capital, or they just have, let's say, unfairness in their life. So the theory is the classes. And for the question from Wahyu, uh, if we use application in literary works, can we answer? Yes, of course. I already answered also. Of course, we can grasp the values or the moral. It depends on what value that actually we want to find. So for example, like I'm saying Disney and fairy tales. Actually, there are so many people already discussed about this text already, but they have different point of view with me. So I focus on what themes that I want to highlight, what moral value that I want to discuss. Because as I mentioned before, the value it's related with the culture, so that I'm using my values, which is I have my culture as Indonesians, I have my culture as Muslims, I have my culture as, and so on and so forth, and those point of view becomes my let's say my frame to see what moral value that I want to check, I want to emphasize, I want to short, or sometimes I also deleted the value that I want to discuss. Because when we are using representation, we see the representation as something that represents other things. These other things that we label to the things that we analyze, it depends on our point of view. And if we want to see the moral value, it depends on us what kind of moral value that we want to attach. As long as we can explain it clearly, how we see the text, it would consist the moral value that we want to emphasize. And the last question is come from Nabila, right, Pak Ernoko?
Nabila, yes.
Yeah, I already also answered that. If she want to imply the existentialisms, or she's using existentialism point of view, it means that you have to focus on the characters that wants to pursue or struggle to gain their existence. It means that For example, like Cinderella, if we use existentialism's point of view, it means by struggling with by struggling using the help of the mother fairy god's mother, she's struggling to have the gown, the slippers, the glass slippers, and also she's struggling to escalate the social status. Escalate the social status by marrying the prince. That would be from existentialism's point of view. I hope that would answer. Thank you, Pak Andoko.
Thank you very much, Bu Lydia, for the answer. Okay, and the last questions go to Bu Kenya. Okay, actually, there are 3 questions. The first come from Shiva Kartika, and the 2 questions come from Shiva Kartika, and 1 question comes from Aisyah Hidayah. But I will just combine them into 1 questions. Okay, Bu Kenya, in your study, you found that there are few differences, especially in male and female use in language, and especially in the design or the structure of their blocks. Are the differences apply to all female or males, or is there any exception? If there is differences, can we say that the difference is not determined by their gender, instead by societal norms? For example, women write in more exclusive manner because they are expected to be mothers since their early age. So is there any other factors that might contribute to the male and females language in their blocks? And the last, do the design and structure in their block reflect their personality? Yes, Bu Kenya, time is yours to answer the 3 questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Handoko. And thank you also goes to Shiva and asked. Yeah, the questions lead to another question. Have you ever wondered how to add meaning or to understand its meaning? Is reality, yeah. So multimodality comes in handy. Then you can also use this in different contexts, yeah. Now, in my context, since I studied about travel blogs, including the writing, yeah, the text, the language, and then the layout, the color, the image representing the writer, and the other modes, then I can see the concept, yeah, the key concept in linguistics that is multimodality that is often considered when analyzing discourse. And the discourse can be both in written and spoken text, as well as images. Yeah. Now, how do we understand, yeah, someone's personality from their blogs? This is an interesting question, since it seems like, yeah, you know, everything put in the internet, yeah, are virtual. Yeah, it's not real. The same way goes to social media. Yeah, what we post on social media, it can be in the status or in the timeline, yeah, or in the news feed or reels, yeah, and else will not or do not, yeah, 100% represent the whole life of that person. Okay. Yeah, even more for personality. But then we can find the basic points, yeah, in this, yeah, from the meaning of the discourse brought by the travel bloggers or brought by the writers in their blogs. Nah, so we assess this way, yeah, from the blogs. If we meet the person, yeah, we know them, yeah, we know the writers, we ever talk, we ever interact, we come to visit their house, yeah, maybe we know their personality much or way better, right? But then there are also other elements that contribute to the meaning. And these elements are brought by multimodality. And this is also the art of multimodality, okay? Now, from this, then, does it apply to all males and females? You know the answer, all right? Okay, now I go to the next about, wait, let me open my note again. Oh yeah, is it possible that men and women's language use is not determined by their gender? Yeah, instead it is affected by societal norm. Yeah, if the question is it possible? Yes, it is possible. We know we need to know the difference, yeah, between the term of sex and gender. Okay, sex is a biological distinction of being male or female. So according to some researchers, yeah, I found about this is about how sex, yeah, refers to the anatomical and also other biological differences between females and males, which are then determined at the moment of the conception and also the development, yeah, from an infant in the womb throughout the childhood up to the adolescence. That's sex, yeah. Now gender, yeah. What about gender? Well, actually gender is a social distinction, yeah, of being masculine or feminine. Now, if sex is a biological concept, yeah, then gender is a social concept. So it refers to the social and also the cultural differences in the society assigned to the people based on their biological sex. And these kind of elements, yeah, are so much related to how one male or one female, yeah, are uprisen, yeah, and also are developed and then grown, yeah, in certain communities. Now, so this in this point, yeah, then we need to relate it with the ideological system beneath or beyond the life of these two creatures, yeah, males and females, like that. So then if we go back to the question, yeah, is it also affected by societal norm? Yes. Yeah, because it's related. I mean, the gender, yes, the gender itself is determined also by the social system, the political system too. Now, how we need to put it in a great fine line, yeah, is that what should we do, yeah, or should we go along with the wave, yeah, of the gender inequality, gender equality, yeah, in the case that we, well, for the Muslims, yeah, in Islam, yeah, we know that there are differentiation, yeah, between males and females roles. So, and then another question is, what is the difference then between equality and equity? Okay, so we need to go back, yeah, to the truest ideology that should be sourced, yeah, should be rooted from or according to the Quran and the Sunnah, that is from the Islam, yeah. We know that men have a degree over a woman. You can check in the Quran too, yeah. There are many verses, yeah, like the what is it? One verse I remember is how Allah also determines a technical advantage in divorce proceedings, yeah, rather than a general superiority of a man. So it means that the man, yeah, even though men are supposed to be leaders, yeah, it doesn't mean that they have to be a dictator leader. They need to be. I mean, men and women should complete each other. In Islam, yeah, in our religion, they are just like clothes. Yeah, when we wear clothes, we need to cover one another. We need to support one another. So from the grounded, yeah, in the passage from the Quran that delineate gender roles, yeah, duties, and also the relations, we know that we understand, yeah, that men are the heads of the households and also the religious and also community leaders. And women doesn't mean have to be marginalized, No, best friend, as a partner, not as the second line or third line party like that. So women are to be in subjection to their husbands and also other male members of the families and also the religious community. Now, in this case, we can see the tendencies, and also the descriptions from the travel writers in their blogs, about the language use, and then about how they put the descriptions of their travel experiences, including their travel suggestions, travel recommendations in the multimodality, or we can say it as in the multi-modes. Okay, I think that's
Thank you
enough.
very much, Bukania, for the answers. Okay, actually, we still have some questions, but I'm afraid that we are running out of time. So we are sorry for the audiences who have asked the questions to Bulidia, especially, and also to Bukania. Okay. Thank you very much, Bulidia and Bukania, for your insightful talks in today's undergraduate students conference. Let's give a very loud applause to Bukania and Bulidia. Yes.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine, Mrs. Handoko, and also all the audience. Thank you so much.
So,
Andoko and all the audience.
Thank you very much, Bulidia and Bukania. Okay, so we hope that the participants in today's conference may take some take-home message as an inspiration, especially in their future research. So there are lots of examples that Bulidia and Bukania has shown about the alternative research that they can do in their thesis writing in the future. So I am Sohandoko as the moderator for today's keynote speech on National Undergraduate Students Conference, UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya 2022. Thank you very much for your participation. And I would like to give the floor to the moderator of the plenary speech, Aura Rizvi Jabal Rahma. Okay, thank you very much, Bukania and Bulidia.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to be with you all. Yes,
all right.
Bye, Michael.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Okay, Aura, the screen is yours.
Check. Well, thank you, Pak Han, for giving me a chance as the moderator also. Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second plenary session of 2022 National Undergraduate Student Conference. My name is Aura Rizvi, and I will be your moderator for the next 30 minutes. Well, in this session, we have 3 invited student presenters who will share their ideas in linguistics, literature, and English teaching. Well, these 3 presenters have published their journal articles accepted and published in 3 national journal articles with a CINTA and Morarev indexes. Well, before that, I would like to ask the 3 presenters here, Andini, Faik, and Sheila. How are you guys? Are you okay?
I'm perfectly fine. Thank you, Aura. How about you? How's life?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good also. How about the other Sheila, Faik?
I'm good, Aura. Alhamdulillah, I'm good too. How about you, Aura?
All right. Yeah, I hope you guys always help present your topic. Okay. Now let's start with the first presenters. English Department, UIN Sunan. Implementation of humor from the perspective of linguistic theory and Islamic teaching. Well, I get curious Andini, you have 10 minutes to present your topic before we continue to the next presenter. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Aura. Let me share my screen. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I am Andiniana Grafitria. I'm a sixth semester student at English Department of UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya. First of all, I would like to say thank you to the committee of this seminar for inviting me and giving me the chance to present my research here. I am very honored to be one of the presenters in this plenary session. So without any further ado, in this occasion, I would like to present my research concerning the analysis of humor from the perspectives of linguistics theory and Islamic culture, entitled The Art of Laughter, Grecian Maxims and Islamic Perspectives on Verbal Humor in a British Comedy Series. So in this first section, I would like to explain why did I conduct this study? Why is this study important? Well, human interactions are inseparable from usage of humor as the means to maintain the communication flow to run smoothly. According to Martin and Ford, regarding the definition of humor, humor should possess the tendency to make people laugh due to their enjoyment of the stimulus that triggers their emotional responses. In human interactions, humor plays an important role in maintaining a psychological state as well as social bonds between individuals. Without us realizing it, we laugh a lot. We use humor with everyone, with our family, with our friends, with our colleagues in a meeting to break the tension after some heating up debates, or even strangers that we just met in a social gathering and we tried to talk to them just to break the silence and the awkwardness. Humor is like a vital part of communication in human social life to establish social bonds between people. And at the same time, humor is also important in maintaining our internal balance, which is related to our mental or psychological state. For many people, humor is a very effective defense mechanism because with humor, they can look at their miserable lives from a rather comical perspectives, and it kind of changes a lot of things in the way they handle their life problems. As you can see in this GIF here, this is taken from one of the most popular sitcoms in America, Friends. And this character is known for using humor as a defense mechanism. So all of those indicates how pivotal humor is for our interpersonal as well as intrapersonal matters. However, the problem is that sometimes we do not comprehend certain humorous expressions, or we cannot even think of a simple good joke in a conversation. And when those problems are not yet to be solved, there comes another problem, which is related to a bigger context, culture. Some humor may be funny, but offensive to certain cultures, or some cultures may be perceived more as rather too strict that they seem as if they don't have any sense of humor. Therefore, this study is expected to provide insights about humor constructions and humor perception of different cultures. Thus, this study aims to analyze the construction of verbal humor using linguistics features and investigate how different cultures perceive verbal humor, particularly Islamic and popular British cultures, given that British popular culture is directed more to liberal culture, which is often opposed to the Islamic culture that is often seen as conservative. Okay. So in this study, I analyzed the humor construction in a British sitcom called Black Books. Black Books is a British comedy series which presents the daily life of a bookseller named Bernard Black with his close friends Manny and Fran in his bookshop, which is named Black Books. This is one of the most famous British comedy series that achieved the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, or BAFTA, awards in 2001 and 2005 for Best Situation Comedy. The popularity of this series underlies the reason of why I analyzed its humor utterances. The airing year of this series might be one of the limitations of this study, given that it was aired in the early 2000s. Therefore, this study reflects only the humor culture in British around the period to see to what extent does it conform with Islamic perspectives on humor that remain the same over the years due to the consistency of the Islamic basic sources, which are Al-Quran and Hadith. It is suggested for further research to examine the more current phenomena regarding humor in the Western culture and then compare it with the Islamic perspectives again, or maybe compare it with another religious perspectives on humor. Moving on to the next section, I'm going to explain about the methods that I used to conduct this study. So this study employed a qualitative approach to do an in-depth analysis of verbal humor construction in Black Book series, particularly in Manny Come Home episode of the first episode in the third season, using Grecian maxim deviations and Islamic perspectives on humor. The first analysis used the Grecian maxims deviations, which include the floutings and violations of the maxim of quality, the maxim of quantity, the maxim of relevance or relation, and the maxim of manner. And after analyzing the verbal humor using Grecian maxim deviation, the verbal humor utterances were examined and classified into the utterances that conform or do not conform with Islamic perspectives on humor. The Islamic perspectives on humor are taken from some Quranic verses and hadith that were interpreted by Mazov in 2011 in his paper about Muslim humor. According to Mazov's interpretation, Islamic humor utterances should not ridicule others, should not defame others, should not offend others, should not contain offensive name-calling, and should conform with other Islamic values, such as expressing truthful utterances. And in this study, especially in the for the point number 5, I focused on analyzing the Islamic values which are expressing truthful utterances and avoiding abusive behaviors to others. Now, moving on to the results and discussion. The analysis found that there were 35 utterances containing verbal humor expressions, which were constructed by using the violation and floutings of all 4 of Grice's corporative maxims, with the maxim of quality being the most deviated maxim, with the frequency of 54.3%, and the maxim of relevance being the least deviated maxim with the frequency 11.4% out of 100%. This is different from the findings of a previous study conducted by Aristianti et al. In 2020, who reported that the maxim of quality is the least flouted or violated maxims among the other 4 maxims in the Incredibles 2 movie. This difference occurs because of the different genres between the movie and the series analyzed in this study and the previous study. The Incredibles 2 movie is a movie targeted for children who tend to use humor merely to create a sense of happiness, while Black Books is a series that is clearly targeted for adult audiences whose humor usually involves criticism or deprecation of adult life or some bigger social issues. the kind of humor that makes us rather laugh bitterly rather than laugh cheerfully. Furthermore, since Black Books is targeted for more mature audiences, the types of humor are also inclined to be more advanced. There are a lot of use of mockery, sarcasm, and irony, which rely a lot on the deviation of the most in this series. And these differences indicate that the maxim violation to create humor might be different depending on the audience or the interlocutor. Concerning the verbal humor utterances in Black Book series perceived from the Islamic perspectives, as you can see in the pie chart here, it is evident that the utterances tend to conform with Islamic values of humor, although the ratio is not significantly wide. The slight gap is caused by the fact that the non-conforming utterances are mostly constructed using the flouting or violation of maxim of quality, which is the most frequent verbal humor occurred in the series. The flouting or violation of maxim of quality is considered as an inappropriate technique of humor construction in Islamic perspectives because it creates untruthful statements. However, despite the inappropriateness of the deviation of quality maxim, the violation or floutings of other maxim are still effective to construct verbal humor without crossing the line of Islamic teachings. In fact, the deviation of maxim of manner, which is the second most violated or flouted maxim, was often implemented by Prophet Muhammad SAW in his humorous anecdotes. This reflects that despite the cultural differences, the humor construction in the British series can still conform with Islamic teachings. And this also debunks the perception that Islam has no sense of humor. The right words would be Islamic teachings encourage the use of harmless humor expression in order to respect and protect other people's feelings and conditions. Now I'm going to conclude the whole results of this study. The points of the whole results are the maxim violation to create humor might be different depending on the audience or the interlocutor. In spite of the differences between Islamic and British cultures, humor in the British series can still conform with Islamic values. And the last is the technique of maxim flouting and violation in constructing verbal humor is still deemed as effective from the linguistics and religious perspectives. The results in this study are expected to be able to enhance people's ability in comprehending as well as creating verbal humor, since humor is an important aspect of human life. Different cultures carry humor in their own ways that must be respected by each other. One may be wrong in the eyes of the other, but it's just the matter of perspective. There is no actual right or wrong in the bigger picture. One can follow the principles that they believe to be true, but that does not make them superior from the others. Thus, aside from the academic implication, this study is expected to spread the cultural diversity, awareness, and provides insights that different cultures can still be assimilated and developed side by side without discrediting certain cultures or going beyond the border of another culture's values. I think that's all from my explanation about my research regarding the humor expressions from linguistics and religious perspectives. If you have any questions, you can just directly ask by raising your hand or just write in the chat box. I'm Adina Fitria. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Well, thank you, Andini, for the insightful presentation. And I even didn't know that the humor construct is very complicated like that. Yeah, it's once again, thank you, Anini, for the presentation. The audience, if you have any question, you can type in the chat box or you can simply raise your hand in the raise hand button. And what I can say from the Andini presentation is humor instructions are inseparable things from the usage of humor when we communicate with others. And yeah, it makes our communicative flows well. And from the Islamic perspective, we know that Andini relates it with the actions that don't ridicule others or maybe don't defame others and also the offend the others. Well, thank you, Andini, once again. And let's on the next presenter. Same as the previous presenter, the second presenter is also from the 6th semester of Student English Department. UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya, Sheila Buditania. Today, Sheila will talk about the assertive act reflecting on the Randa Abdel Fattah's speech. Well, I also excited with this topic, how the speech from Randa Abdel Fattah reflects assertive acts. And in this occasion, Sheila will talk about it. Sheila, you have 10 minutes to present your topic before we continue to the next presenter. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Aura. Could you please help me to share my screen, Faikotul? Okay, thank you. I'll start. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
All right, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Sheila. I'd like to present my research article entitled Reflecting on Randa Abdel Fattah's Perspective in New South Wales Premier's Reading Challenge, focus on assertive act. Next slide, please. Okay, now start from the background of the study. One of the interview's function is to transmit information from the speaker to the listener, as seen from the speech act theory perspective. And according to Shirley, assertive act commit the speaker to the truth of conveyed statement that the speaker believes the statement to be true. Therefore, assertive act commonly occur in conversation. And several studies on assertive act have been conducted on various discourses to analyze their use and functions. However, all of the previous studies on assertive acts devote little or no attention to the Islamic discourse. To the best of the researchers' knowledge concerning the Islamic discourse, there was one study conducted by Sukianto, Zulfa, and Purwanto in 2020, focused on how assertive acts were used to teach religious values through an Islamic-oriented comic. And the study revealed that assertive act in the comic had the power to convey good messages. This means that assertive act could be performed to teach people Islamic values and positive messages through Islamic-oriented discourses. So by considering the argument mentioned that assertive act have the power to deliver Islamic values and good message, this current study focuses on Randa Abdel Fattah's speech during her interview with the New South Wales Department of Education regarding her fictional Islamic books, because the researchers believe that the writer tries to convey the overall message she wishes to communicate in her works through the interview. Next, please. Okay, so this present study applied a descriptive qualitative approach to describe the use of assertive act in an interview. The study applied content analysis, where the transcript of the interview with Randa Abdel-Fattah was used as the data. And the subject of this study is Randa Abdel-Fattah, an award-winning writer, a former lawyer, a consistent media commentator, and a PhD candidate focusing her research on Islamophobia in Australia. The data collected from the video transcription then were analyzed using assertive act theory to reveal its function or intended meaning. Next slide, please. We're moving into the findings and discussion. So as we can see on the chart, in this study, the total turn of both the interviewer and Randa Abdel-Fattah is 130 turns. And as you can see, the most dominant spoken assertive act is telling, with the least spoken is showing something act. So by performing telling act, Randa mainly tells the audience about her experiences as an author and a Muslim facing racism that inspired the story of her book. And generally, by performing reporting act, Randa reports the actual event of the kuffar related to the writing process of one of her book. Does my head look big in this, that covers the issue of racism. And then by performing showing something act, Randa points to also one of his book covers. That's my head look big in this, to show the first book she wrote, motivated by her wish for people to understand the challenge of Muslim faith, so that people will try to consider others' perspective before judging them. Next, by uttering describing act, Randa describes people's different appearances and characteristics behind the depiction of the characters in her books. For example, Randa describes her Arab Muslim friends' identities who change their names to fit more in outside. So Randa has a friend named Muhammad, but is called Sam instead, and Bilal, who also changed his name to Bill. So by describing her friends who changed their real identities or appearances to match the Australian image better, Randa tries to underline such issues that she feels are important. And next is by uttering explaining act, Randa mainly explained the detailed information in the story's introduction, so the audience knows the outline of the issues raised, like how there are people who were against Muslim and multiculturalism, and her reason for writing such issues like the helpful policies promotion towards the refugee. Next is the agreeing act. Randa agrees books or fiction have the power to change one's life and impact young people by reflecting on racism issues. And the last assertive act performed by Randa is suggesting, in which Randa suggests some practical tips for young people dreaming of becoming writers, such as embracing reading and writing to overcome some struggles in writing and not giving up easily. Next slide, please. So telling something, especially through experiences, becomes the type of assertive act that is apparent most frequently in the interview with Randa. As a Muslim representative, Randa predominantly uses the assertive act of telling to voice the stories she has experienced and to share her knowledge of the world. in which telling has emerged as one of the most efficient teaching methods and practical tools for preaching Islam, or as we call it as ta'wah. The speaker has raised awareness and promoted excellent values in Islam by telling valuable stories from her own experiences. And by displaying one of her books, Randa implies that the racism she received as a Muslim prompts her to write a book so that others could change their views and understanding of Muslim better. Next slide, please. So the illocutionary force of engaging people in what she feels as a Muslim woman living in a world that often puts prejudice on her and her Muslim colleagues is evident in most of her stories as parts of her responses to the interview. As in Cradle's classification of assertive utterances that introduce information, narrate, or recount a complete sequence of events, put the focus on the nature of the message. And in the interview, Randa focused on delivering the message regarding Muslims' concerns by telling her actual experiences. Next slide, please. So we come to the conclusion that 7 types of assertive acts are noticeable in Randa Abdel Fattah's responses to the interview, with telling as the most often evident act. And the act of telling is expressed to make the audience know about something and feel the situations experienced by the character. Also, Randa tends to recount her experiences as a Muslim living in Australia and facing a lot of racism, which later inspires her to write fictional Islamic books regarding such issues. And through her stories, Randa mainly wants the world to embrace her and her Muslim colleagues. That's all from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, thank you, Shayla, for your great presentation right now. Well, what I get from Shayla presentation is that we know about the assertive acts reflecting in human speech, and we can look at the human term, human communication and the linguistics term, such as telling, explaining, stating, and etc. Well, thank you again for Shayla for your great presentation. Well, let's move on to the next presenter. Faik Kriya is also the sixth student of English Department of UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya. Today, Faik will tell us about the representative in dalam Mogayet speech. What is like to be a Muslim in America? So in this occasion, Faik will explain about it. Faik, you have 10 minutes to get your articles presenting in this session. Time is yours.
All right, thank you for the opportunities. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Faigatul Faria. I'm a sixth semester student of English Literature in Sunan Ampel Surabaya. In this occasion, I will share about my research entitled Representative Acts in Delia Mogahead's speech, entitled What It's Like to Be a Muslim in America. Okay, first is the background of the study. An utterance that is expressed in everyday life sometimes contains a particular meaning and purpose. In everyday communication, a speech can convey some information from one to the others. As stated by Sapir in 2004, speech is a normal type of communication that aims to convey ideas. Through the speech, someone aims to convey a message in front of the public, a particular community, or a general audience. Speech might have various definitions, and it still refers to the ability to convey an idea or information. The speaker also conveys what he believes and considers a fact through the speech. Speech is a part of everyday life where it is used to communicate, to convey, or provide information. However, the information might be conveyed implicitly. It enables an action performed by the speakers through their speech. So, when we produce utterances, we might convey implicit meaning and also perform an action. It is generally referred to as speech act, that is the part of pragmatics that deals with the speaker's intention. Speech act is an action performed through an utterance or expression. In an interaction, the speakers must have a purpose or perform certain actions behind the speech they produce. Hence, when people say something, the addressee or listener needs to recognize what kind of action is performed through the utterance. Someone who conveys a certain meaning through his expression can be recognized that he performed illusionary acts. Illusionary acts is an act which can be performed in the utterance of a sentence and are as functions of the meaning of the sentence. Therefore, this illocutionary act is shown to perform an action that actually wants to do by saying it. Settler in 1976 also classified various kinds of illocutionary speech acts into 5 basic categories, that is, representative, directive, commissive, expressive, and declaration. And it is classified according to their functioning can be performed by a person through speaking. Representative acts bind the speaker to the thread of the matter expressed. Thus, the explanation or information conveyed by the speakers is what they believe and consider as a fact. Specifically, representative acts are used to convey what the speaker believes. Since speech acts can appear in various expressions, they can also appear in a speech. This study focused on the speech conveyed by Dalia Mukayed in TED Talks, entitled "What It's Like to Be a Muslim in America." In her speech, Dalia Mukayed shared her thoughts and experiences as a Muslim in the United States. Therefore, this study aims to examine the kinds of representative acts in Dalia Mukayed's speech and the Islamic messages that occur in the representative acts performed by Dalia in her speech. Okay, moving on to the method. This current study is using a qualitative method. This qualitative approach focuses on describing, analyzing, and exploring a type of strategy used by the speaker. So this method applied in this research by analyzing, describing, and interpreting the utterance considered representative acts performed in the speech. The study was also applied the proposed theory by Searle in 1976 about representative speech acts. The data in the study were collected from TED Talks video entitled "What It's Like to Be a Muslim in America" by Dalia Mukayed transcriptions. Okay, the next is a result and findings. This study found that there are 133 utterances produced by Dalia, and 111 of them are representative speech acts. There are several kinds of representative speech acts identified. There are stating, describing, asserting, informing, reporting, and predicting. Uh, 54 out of 111 representative acts are identified as stating. That is one of the most frequently used kinds of representative acts in the speech. Then followed by describing with 32 utterance and asserting, informing, reporting, and the last one is predicting with only 3 utterances. The act of stating dominates the speech delivered by Dahlia. In addition, the act of describing performed by Dahlia is used to illustrate her life and her experiences, describe other people, and portray something. The act of asserting is also done to emphasize opinions or thoughts. Dahlia then performs the act of informing to provide information to the audience, and the act of predicting to foresee what might happen in the future. In addition, reporting was also performed by Dahlia to convey the information from her research. Dahlia performs the act of stating to utter something that she believes and understands, say about herself, and express her thoughts. It is in accordance with the theory of representative acts, which binds the speaker to the truth of what is conveyed, proposed by Sarah. On the other hand, uh, there are some Islamic messages found in Dahlia's representative acts. Dahlia's utterance shows some of Islamic messages, that is, improving faith in the Islamic core belief and spiritual values, reading the Holy Quran, and visiting mosques to get a better understanding of Islam and avoid the wrong conception of the Islamic teachings. Dahlia's utterances still be related to the values of Aqidah, which deals with one's belief in the existence of God. The value of Aqidah itself is reflected in the pillars of faith, that is, to believe in the existence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and other core beliefs. Therefore, what Dahlia uttered also contained the implementation of Aqidah values. And Dahlia also emphasized that reading the Quran will bring her relationship closer to the God and deepen her belief in God, since the beauty of reading the Quran makes her touched. It is also proven that Dahlia believes in the existence of God because she feels God understands her and knows her. Therefore, the representative acts performed by Dahlia contains Aqidah values, since she believes not only in the existence of God but also in the Quran as one of the books of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Next is Dahlia also asserted that what people learn in the mosque can prevent them from radicalization. It shows that Dahlia indirectly encourages people to go to the mosque to get closer to God, strengthen their faith, and get advice from the imams. People may not only fulfill the worship, but also prevent them from getting bad influence from outside or even radicalization. Dahlia not only accepting religion as an identity, but also as a choice that must be made through careful learning and thought. Through this representative act, Dahlia gives statements about what she believes as a Muslim. It means that the statement conveyed by Dahlia directly implements the Islamic teachings and values as a principal norm in life. Moving on to the conclusion, based on the results, before the analysis of representative acts in Dahlia speech using Sarah's theory, there are 2 findings were identified. So first is there are 111 out of 130 of Dahlia's utterance in her speech entitled What It's Like to Be a Muslim in America that are identified as representative acts. Out of the 6 kinds of representative acts found in Dahlia's speech, The most frequently performed is the act of stating. In addition, Dalia's speech also contains Islamic values and messages, namely the application of Aqidah values in her life. As an American Muslim, Dalia's utterance imply that although a number of people and media give negative views of Islam, it is certainly full of prejudice. Dahlia also tried to convince her audience about the truth of Islam, which she believes in. It can be concluded that Dahlia, as a speaker, performs a representative act to convey her opinion or thoughts that may reflect what she believes and encourage the audience to take her statement as true. That's all from me. If you have any question, you can type it on the chat box. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right, thank you, Faik, for the very insightful presentations. What I can say here, if before we have assertive acts, now we have a representative speech act from Faik, right? And yeah, from the Faik presentation, I can say that it contains also with the linguistics terms such as the explaining, describing, interpreting, and etc. And from the Faik said before that Jalia speech contains an improving message, improving faith in the Islamic core belief and spiritual values. Like this. And well, from the three presenters now, we greatly know that the linguistics, literature, and English teaching are deal with the human interaction, and it presents the linguistics features along with the cultures behind it all. Well, now let's have the question and answer session. We have 10 minutes for question and answer session. You can chat in the chat box here, or you can simply raise your hand in the raise button here. Well, well, if you don't have any questions, allow me to close this plenary session. Thank you all to all presenters for their incredible insights. After this, the parallel session will start at 11:30. Please join the breakout room as assigned by the team. And Pak Handoko will give you for further direction after this. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Aura, and also all the plenary speakers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start the parallel sessions in a minute, but I would like to first give some information, especially dealing with the technicalities of joining the parallel sessions. Okay, so you are provided with 6 rooms. Okay, wait a second, I would like to share my screen. Okay, so you are provided with 6 rooms. Room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and each room consists of 6 or 7 speakers. Yeah. So please just ignore the schedule on the program book because not all the presenters will have confirmed their presentation. So I will share this PDF schedule on the Zoom chat box so you can later check on the presenters that you want to attend. The parallel session will last for about 60 minutes. So each speakers have has 10 minutes for presentation and question, but for the the technicalities will be determined by the moderators themselves in the room. Yeah. So the moderators of the parallel session will explain about the rules of the parallel sessions in the breakout rooms. Okay, so for the presenters, please join the room as assigned in the schedule. Yeah, room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for the participants, okay, you are allowed to join any rooms. Yeah, if you are interested in attending to the. So can somebody help me with the microphone? Mute the microphone, please. Yeah. Host, can you help me with? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let me repeat. So the presenters, please join the breakout rooms as assigned in the schedule. And for the participants, you are free to join any room, okay, from 1 to 6. Yeah, I will share this schedule on the Zoom chat box so that you can check by yourself the speakers and also the papers that you are interested in listening to. Okay. Now I will share the schedule in the chat box. Okay, so now you can download the parallel schedule on the Zoom chat box, and then you may check by yourself the paper or presenters that you want to attend. Okay, after the parallel session's over, please come back to this main Zoom meeting room for the closing ceremony. Okay, host, please open the breakout rooms. Okay, now please join the presenters and moderators. Please join the rooms as you are assigned in the schedule. And for the participants, you are allowed to join in any room. Yeah. Okay, now you can join the breakout room. The parallel sessions begin at 11:30. Yeah. So you can have more preparation, especially for the presenters. You may check your microphone. You may try to share your screen. So there are ample times for final rehearsal, especially for the presenters. Participants, you can join any room. We still have 150 people in the main Zoom meeting. Please join the breakout room. There are still 100 more people in
Recording
the
stopped.
main Zoom meeting. Please join the breakout room. Come on, everybody, please join the breakout room so that the parallel sessions may begin as soon as possible. Nur Rahma, presenter. Alifatur Rahmi, presenter. Sefia, Rizky Ramadan, Rio Lizardi, Zuhro, Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindia, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindia, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindia, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindia, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindia, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindia, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindia, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindya, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindya, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindya, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindya, Rakai, Ulfasya. Okay, there are still lots of students still in the main Zoom meeting. Come on. Fani, Krishna, Irza, Eli Saragita, Cahya Ratu, Aisyah Alfianti, Aisyah Restu, Fadilatul Fajriya, Isnaini, Hayu Anindya, Rakai, Isnaini, Hayu Anindya, Rakai, Isnaini, Hayu Anindya, Rakai, Isnaini, finish, we can move to the closing ceremony for today's national conference. Thank you. Saya for presenters and participants. If you have not completed the attendance form, please submit the attendance form. We are going to close the attendance form at 1:45. Okay, so at 1:45 after the closing ceremony, the attendance form cannot be accessed anymore. Sudah selesai.
There are 3 and 3. Then they just try to
Students Conference held by the English Department UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya in collaboration with the English Department Student Association
tabaraka wa ta'ala wa musalliyan ala Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At last, alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. I think that's the best expression I can say right now. After so many days we've been through, the conference is a success indeed. Thank you very much to all committees for the hard work. To invited speakers, presenters, and participants who made this program merry and meaningful. Hopefully, we can make this students' conference a tradition to develop the academic knowledge and competencies. We are very sorry for any inconvenience and promise to make things better in the future. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Thank you, Bu Wahyu. On behalf of the committee, we would like to express our earnest gratitude to our committee's members, keynote speakers, plenary speakers, and parallel speakers, and participants who have made this first National Undergraduate Students Conference at UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya possible. Again, thank you and see you in the upcoming National Undergraduate Students Conference. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wabarakatuh.